I just got word that after a very long and stressful process, I am officially divorced. I am super, super excited that it's finally over. I cannot tell you how many days I really prayed hard for this all to be over, and it finally is. So I'm so excited. I had thought that I would get like an official announcement from my lawyer's office saying like, congratulations, it's all over, but that's not the case. And that's why I was a little bit confused whether or not the process was over or not, because I guess for my lawyer's office, they handle multiple divorce cases, and to them it's just like a normal day. So in one of my previous videos, I had mentioned that my lawyer's office had contacted me regarding like more documentation. So it turns out they were letting me know that I was going to get like the final completed judgment in the mail, and that they were officially submitting a document that lets everyone know that they are no longer representing me because there's no need anymore. Technically, if we're going off the judgment filing, I was divorced. I was officially divorced a couple weeks ago. But all the technicalities of me receiving the final paperwork in the mail and my lawyer submitting their final documentation, that all happened very recently. So I'm just so happy that it's finally over. I cannot tell you how much stress and anxiety it gave me. But in this video, I am going to let you know how much my divorce cost me. But before I give you that final number, I will give you a few snippets of my experience in case you go through this in the future or someone that's currently going through it. So I have been trying to get divorced from my ex probably for approximately 3 years, and initially we tried to do it by ourselves because it saved money, but then I soon realized that he was just bullying me and trying to get everything that he wanted, trying to get me to like sign away literally everything. And a part of me knew what he was doing, but I didn't have like the backbone to stand up for myself. I was more that type of person that would kind of just ignore things and just pray and hope that it went away. And obviously that strategy didn't work. At one point, my ex was getting extremely frustrated with me because he was telling me to do things and I wasn't doing it. I was ignoring him. So he is actually the one that technically initiated the divorce. Like, I'm the one that left and said that I didn't want to be with him anymore and I moved back to California. But as far as paperwork, he's the one that initiated it, and he was the one that got a lawyer first. And I know his strategy going into this divorce was to outmoney me. He knew at the time that I at that time didn't have a job. I was laid off and I was living off my severance, and then I got a job, but I had a lot of expenses. When you move into an apartment, you have to pay like your deposit. I had to buy a car because I got a new job and I needed a way to get around. So it was like I was very tight on money, and he knew that. His strategy was to get a lawyer and to start this divorce. In his mind, he thought that he was going to get everything he wanted because there was no way that I would be able to afford a lawyer. And if I'm being completely transparent, I too felt that there was no way I can afford a lawyer. So leading up to him getting a lawyer, there was a lot of text messages back and forth between us of us fighting, and him trying to bully me and try to threaten me. Like, if you don't do these things, then I'm gonna take you to court and I'm gonna take everything. I'm gonna take our child away from you. Like, he was saying everything under the sun. And of course, my fear at the time was that he was like gonna somehow take my daughter away. And in hindsight, there's no way, because I've always been her primary caregiver. There's absolutely no way that suddenly he can just take her away. In hindsight, I now know that there was no validity to that threat. So while he was making all of these threats, I had research lawyers. I found a law office that I seem to really like. I like what they portrayed on the website, but I also like what people were saying in the reviews. I had set up a consult, and the consult appointment is free. I remember going into this consult appointment and I had asked, can you give me like an estimated amount of how much this divorce is going to cost? On my end, I know that I don't have a lot of money. Like, I have some savings. I remember the lawyer that I consulted with said they couldn't give me an estimate because it really depends on the situation and how much is involved, and it really depends on like how much work is involved. So the next day after my consult appointment, my ex had got an attorney. They served me with the paperwork. This is no longer us trying to do stuff on our own. This is official that lawyers are going to be involved and we're going to go through the court. I ended up signing up with this law firm, and in my mind, I said to myself, I have a little bit of money in my savings account. I might not be able to make it to the end of this divorce of being able to afford these lawyers. Whatever money that I had in my savings, I will try to get as far as I can in this divorce. And if that means like it's not very far at all, then that's what it is. At least I tried to fight back as best as I could. Now, what my ex was not anticipating, and in all honesty, I kind of surprised myself. Even today when I think back, like, how was I able to do this? I somehow, some way, through this whole entire process, I was able to keep up with 100% of the payments that came my way in order to have my lawyers throughout the entire divorce process. And when you sign up with your divorce attorney, you have to pay your retainer, which is like the initial amount of money that they need to start. And throughout the process, they ended up calling this account like a trust account. There was like a minimum amount I needed to keep in this trust account. And mine was, I think, was $3,500. So whenever they would do work, when my balance in the trust would get close to $3,500, they would let me know that I need to replenish the account because it was getting low. So I somehow, some way, every time they contacted me letting me know that I needed to make a payment, I somehow was able to keep up with all the payments throughout this entire divorce. I not once missed a payment. When they told me I needed to make a payment, I always paid the next day. And this surprises me. Like, you don't know what you're capable of until you're kind of put up against the wall and like you have no other choice and you're just kind of essentially fighting for your life. Somehow, some way, I was able to keep up with all these payments. Now, the most stressful part of it all, because money was tight as it is, they were asking for money frequently and it was like large amounts. I would start to get worried, like, oh my gosh, my savings is getting even lower. I'm not sure the next time that they'll ask for money, I'm not sure if I'll have the money. And maybe the universe was on my side, because it always turned out like when my funds were getting really, really low and I was really doubtful, I'm not sure if I can make the next payment, something would come through. Like at work, I ended up getting like an annual bonus. Once that bonus hit my account, it went right back out and went to like my lawyer's office. So the most stressful part is feeling like all these expensive payments won't come to an end. I've never been through a divorce before. I don't know like when the end is gonna occur, because in my mind, it felt like I was buying Ferraris left and right. This is so expensive. I'm not sure I can afford this. And maybe I couldn't afford it when it came down to it, but somehow, some way, I managed to make every single payment. No doubt really shook my ex, because I had no doubt he was wondering like how I could afford to pay for a lawyer. His lawyer was really good. My lawyer was complete fire. Like, I knew that he hired a really good lawyer, and I in turn wanted to also hire a really good lawyer, because this is a person that's used to getting his way 100% of the time, and I needed someone that wasn't afraid to like advocate for me and to fight back. And I'm just so grateful that I had the lawyer that I did, because she was very no nonsense, and I think it's because she's very experienced. Whenever they would like try to submit something that was a little bit on the ridiculous side, like it's a ridiculous request, she would be able to spot it right away and like fight against it, if that makes sense. So if I have to recommend whether or not you should have a lawyer, and I know people, even myself, didn't want to go through the court at first because I knew it was going to be very expensive. If I had to give advice, like, should you have a lawyer, should you not have a lawyer, I 100% think that you absolutely should have a lawyer when you get divorced. Yes, it is very expensive. I think it's very worth it, especially if you are someone who is a people pleaser and in general is kind of like a doormat. The other person in the relationship like tends to bully you. Absolutely, you need to have a lawyer. I honestly saw my lawyer as a shield, because there was a lot of times where my ex would call me up on the phone and eventually I stopped like answering the phone. So he would send me text messages. He would try to get me to agree to things like outside of our lawyers, outside of the court, for me to just agree to what he's saying. And then when I would just ignore him, he would send me harassing, bullying text messages. And it was nice to just take all that and send it to my lawyer. And then all of a sudden, all that bullying, harassing stopped. So it was nice having my lawyer as a shield. Like, whenever he would try to bully me or harass me, I would just say, talk to my lawyer, and there was nothing he could say after that. He could be mad all he wanted, but I had that lawyer as like a shield. Like, does that make any sense at all? Even though you think your divorce is gonna be like a simple divorce, have a lawyer and have it done properly. All right, so as far as how much my divorce cost, sorry, I don't know why I chose to use this camera. It's always like dying on me. Okay, battery is changed. So what was I saying? Oh, how much my divorce cost? So keep in mind that we had no assets. There was like no house we had to split, no cars we needed to split. But one thing that went against us is that we fought the entire way. There's not one thing we agreed on. We fought about everything. Here in California, it was required to go to mediation, and that is where you meet and there's a court-appointed mediator to see if you can agree on anything. And I want to say my mediator wanted to rage quit because we just could not agree to anything. We were arguing. We just didn't like each other. And then on the paperwork, they said attended mediation and unsuccessful or something like that. The divorce in my mind felt like it was 5 times the amount that it ended up being. So as far as like the average cost of divorce in California, Google says it's about $17,500. My divorce cost, because we fight and couldn't agree on anything, my divorce ended up costing $30,000. And somehow, some way, I was able to keep up with all those payments. That $30,000, I did not even see it. If I had a bonus coming in from work, it went in my account and right back out. Knowing that I paid $30,000, I want that money back. So I'm currently on a savings challenge, which will end at the end of the year. I'm gonna create another savings challenge. I want that $30,000 back into my account. It might take me 5, 6 years, 7 years, but I wanna do another savings challenge because I really, really would like that money back. Will your divorce cost that much? No, and it goes back to what my lawyer said. It really depends on how much work is being done. It depends on your area. It depends on your state. And honestly, I know there are a lot of people that think that this could never happen to them. Like, I don't need to worry about divorce because me and my partner, my husband or whatever are gonna be together forever. I also had that mindset. This is a person that I've known since high school. We were married for 13 years, together for 16 years. I never imagined that we would go through a divorce. Like, you don't think it's gonna happen to you until it does. So this is my advice, especially if you are like a stay-at-home mom, or if you are someone that has like a low-paying job, or are currently a student, or if essentially your spouse is the one that makes the majority of the money. Start saving now. Like, if you are a stay-at-home mom, start like skimming off the top of things. If that means every time you go to the grocery store, take a few dollars here and there and just kind of stash it away. I don't know where you're gonna stash it, but stash it away for just in case. And keep it a secret. I know you're gonna say, I don't keep secrets from my husband or wife or whatever. Well, this is a secret you need to keep. It's your rainy day fund, and if you never need this money, then maybe you can use it in your retirement, or maybe it's like inheritance that you can give your children. 100%, if you are married, you need a plan B. You don't think it's gonna happen to you until it does. And maybe you are one of the select few where you're gonna live happily ever after. Nothing is guaranteed in life, and it's better to be prepared, honestly. So with that said, I am officially a free woman. I cannot tell you how excited I feel, like just knowing that I am officially single and free from my ex, and now I feel like I can really start to grow because there's like nothing holding me down anymore. I no longer have my past marriage or the divorce process holding me down. So I was not planning on going to the gym today. I actually went twice in a row and my muscles were feeling a little sore, but now that I am a single lady, I feel like I want like a glow up. Maybe there's gonna be a glow up series. Like, I don't exactly know what I want out of a glow up, but I feel like now that I'm free and I have plenty of good things to come in the future, glow up series on the way, so stay tuned. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Best early Christmas present I could ever receive. So happy. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.